When they come back from school, they have their own fun, they have their holiday assignments. Do they have time to play with their colleagues or even with their siblings? So every time is work, 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 work. You go to school or you don't go to school, it's work and work. There's no time to relax. Even as adults, you will break down someday. Yeah. So it helps them, it denies them this interaction in the society. They will not be able to value the social engagement in society because they are not used to it. You are not training them to engage with people. You are not training them to understand the next neighbor. You are not training them to understand the attitude and behavior of other people because they are not interacting, they are not engaging. So those are the forms where these children are subjected to a form of labor or denying them access to leisure or to even develop properly like their or other colleagues that their parents give them that opportunity. So from your example, the child has been to school, is coming back, that period you don't want it to get wasted, enroll in skill acquisition center, but there should be a time for them to relax, have fun and play.
All right, thank you so much, and thanks for clarifying all of that. And it's actually very important that even for schools, even for educational centers, that the children in your school have time for leisure, have time to be able to interact with their environment. It's not to be burdened with work, school work, assignment, and homework all the time. And thank you so much, Mr. Wenger, for clarifying that. So the next question I would like to ask you is, are there really people engaged that are engaging or employing children, especially in Nigeria? Because we're talking about the Nigeria context and all of that. Are there sectors that are employing children?
Yes, there are sectors. Let me give a very close example that you see. Hardly will you walk through the city or drive in Abuja that you not find children walking on the streets.
Yeah.
And these children, most often when you engage them, they are under 18. So that's a form of child labor. You're also familiar with this domestic help, domestic staff. These are also contributed to trafficking of children from one location to another. So you see some parents say because of the poverty level we're talking about, and this parent does not have a farmland, but they want increase in their income. And some of them has even given up and said, okay, if my child can live with so-so an uncle or auntie or somebody in the town, she or he can do some work and then get some money from it. And then when you look at the children they are sending as housemaid or domestic servants or domestic help, some of them fall under this age of 18 downward. The Nigerian government has helped us to some extent, but then there is an age limit to which you can take a child into your house as house help. Before you can take a child into your house as house help, it must be around that 14 years or 15. That child can come, help you with the domestic one, and he must return to their house. That's what the law says. That this child can help you and go back. So any work they are doing to help other people, whether it's domestic service work, they will have to go there and return to their house on a daily basis. Now, do we have that in place in Nigeria? I'll say the audience can answer that as well. Because when you move a child from Plateau State to FCT,
how would they go back home?
How would the child go back to his parents or her parents after the day's work?
On a daily basis.
Or you move a child from Benue to Kogi State, or you move a child from Northeast, Maiduguri, or from Gombe State, and you take that child to Oyo State or Osun State as house help, and this child is still under 18. This child is 15 years. This child is 14 years. And then she's not under the custody of her parents. She's with another family doing domestic work. So you find it in domestic service. I've also mentioned the first one, the street work, you find them hawking. You also find them in some sectors like the quarry. Go to Sokoto, in the quarry site, you'll find children crushing stone with their parents. Go to mining sites in Osun State, you'll find these children mining with their parents in the site. So the mining sites, the quarry sites, you'll find these children there. And the most importantly that is worrisome is the agricultural sector. The agricultural sector contributes more than 30% of children that are in child labor. More than 30%. In Nigeria, we have over 24 million children that are in child labor. That is about 39%. Out of this 39%, you have over 30% that are in agricultural department, sector. So we have them in different employers of labor, even in factories. The last time we did a work on child labor, we have to visit some of these privately owned companies that usually engage children as part of their workforce. But when you go there, notifying them, you won't see these children. The children are not seen, they hide them somewhere. But when you go there unannounced, you find them working in this factory. But the law is saying, we are not asking that you should not engage them. But when you engage them, make sure that these children are at least 15 years before you can engage them. And the type of work you can give them in this your factory or your company should be light work. You shouldn't allow a child that is 15 to handle heavy duty machine when you have adults that can handle it. So you shouldn't allow these children to be exposed to hazardous work. Even when you're engaging them, they should be light work. And then the law also permits that at the age of 16, a child still under 18, right? But the law permits that child that is 16 can enter into a contractual agreement with an employer of labor. And that's how to be done in the presence of the parents, the guardian, and a representative from the Ministry of Labor and Employment. How our industry complies to this in our Nigeria of today. So when you talk of the agricultural sector, they are involved in child labor. You talk of the domestic work or domestic service, you talk of the street children or street hawking, and in the factory. You find them in these four major sectors of the economy.
Wow. Anyways, I think I'm actually personally I'm learning to know that a child of 16 can enter into an agreement and with their parents or guardian or even a representative of the Ministry of Labor and Employment being there. And that's actually a very key takeaway for me from this conversation. So having been working around this child labor and other for a long while, I would like you to tell us what are the efforts that are being made to address this child labor situation.
Okay. Thank you very much. In one of the introduction, during the introduction, I made mention of government and Nigerian government efforts, right from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights to the African Charter, down to Nigerian Constitution, and then the Child Act. Right. Nigeria has been involved in terms of legislative reforms. Nigerian government have tried, but there's still more to do. Though they have set some pace, they've said some things, but there's still more to do. Nigeria has enacted so many laws that can guide and protect children from child labor. We have the Native Law Act that also guides children or any employer from or prevent them from contributing to child labor in Nigeria. And then when you talk of this Child Right Act also, is another law that the Nigerian government has put in place. Nigeria also had the Universal Basic Education 2004 that guarantees compulsory education for children. So when you have your child under 18 that is undergoing a compulsory education and is of school age, by the time the child completes JSS 3, it's already around that 15, 16 or 14 thereabout. Then if the child or the parent decides, okay, we don't have fund to continue, you can enroll in skill acquisition center. So by the time the child completes 2 years in skill acquisition center, how to the 14, the child is already 16 already. So he or she can enter into contractual agreements and then he can earn money. So we have these laws that are in place. The Nigerian government has so much help so that these laws guides us. But the level of implementation is what we need to drive. So many people are not aware that there are laws, and some that are aware because of the weak implementation, enforcement of this law. Some people do a lot of things and get away with. Last 2 weeks, some weeks ago, 2 weeks precisely, my attention was called to a case of a child, a girl that was brought from Plateau State. Sorry to mention the state. So when this girl came to Abuja, it was being brought into Abuja by another man, and this girl is supposed to serve as domestic servant to a family. So they got one, there was an issue, they brought another person. So when the complaint got so much, it was brought to my attention. So I have to engage the agents, because they call themselves agents. They bring these children from different parts of Nigeria and then take them to another part for them to be enrolled as domestic servants or staff, so worker. So I have to engage him that this girl that you have brought here, is there anything that you can show that is actually the parents that releases this child? And then when you are taking this child away from her parents, did you tell them that you are taking her out of the state? So his response is that the parents are aware, even the whole committee are aware. I said, that is just your word.
Word of mouth.
Yes, there is no documented this thing, because the law says when a child is to enter into a contractual agreement,